Hi, this is Sue Jackson of the Book by Book blog, and I'm here with another Friday Reads. I've got something special for you today. We went on a camping trip, our first of the year, earlier this week, spent a couple of days just completely relaxing and de-stressing. It's been a stressful time for us lately. And I have some short video clips to share with you. I'll put those at the end after I've talked about my books so that if you're not interested, you don't have to sit through it. So, books. Well, the first book that I wanted to just mention is The Violin Conspiracy by Brendan Slocum. Now, I've finished that book this week, and I've already written my review, so I'll link to that down below. But I loved this book so much that I wanted to include a short clip that I made while we were camping, because that's where I was reading it. So here's just a little bit of information about The Violin Conspiracy by Brendan Slocum. Just sitting here enjoying our campfire at our campsite on the water. But mostly I wanted to take a minute and tell you about this amazing book. The Violin Conspiracy by Brendan Slocum. I can scarcely bear to set it down. It's just, have about a quarter of it left. It is just so good and so compelling. It starts out, I thought it was like a mystery thriller when I started, and it does begin with a crime. A stolen $10 million Stradivarius violin. But the real story is about the owner of the violin and how he came to have it, and also his rise to stardom as a musician. So his name is Ray. As you can see from the cover, he's a black man, which is highly unusual in classical music. There's just so much to this book, so many layers. When the violin is stolen from his hotel room, there are two prime suspects. His own family, which is fascinating and horrifying. They're terrible people. And also this other family who several generations ago owned his family. And Ray's grandmother said that the violin was given to her great-grandfather. Ray's grandmother's grandfather said it was given to him by the master he worked for, who Ray suspects was probably his father. And but now this family, several generations later, hears about the value of the violin and is coming after Ray, saying it belongs to them. So there is so much here, and it's been a fascinating book that is just so compelling. I just hate to set it down. So loving The Violin Conspiracy by Brendan Slocum, and highly, highly recommended. I read that one for Booktopia, a book event I'm going to next week, which is part of why things have been so busy around here. And right now I am currently reading another book for Booktopia. So this is a big weekend book event where a group of 8, I think in this case it's 8 authors with new releases, get together with a group of readers and spend the weekend talking books. It's a lot of fun. My mom and I go every year, and of course it had to be canceled the last 2 years. So there are a bunch of us, Booktopians, who go every year, and we're really looking forward to next week. So the book I'm reading right now is another book for Booktopia called The Verifiers by Jane Peck. And I'm not too far in, maybe a quarter of the way in so far. But I am loving this book. I hated to set it down last night and go to sleep, but I knew I should. So this is about a young woman named Claudia Lynn. And Claudia's been brought up in a family, how does she put it? The author's got a great way with words, and a lot of this novel is really funny. So she says, Claudia's family's model minority expectations. So Claudia's kind of the black sheep of the family. Her older brother's like a bigwig in business, in finance. She's got an older sister, and Claudia, she got an English degree from a small school. She loves reading mystery novels. She did her thesis on Jane Austen. She doesn't really fit in with the high achievers in her family. So Claudia has a new job that she has not told her family about yet. She quit the really boring, mind-numbing corporate job she had and is working as almost kind of a detective, which appeals to her love of mysteries. It's a company that verifies the identity of people that you meet online. So someone on a dating website can hire this company to check into the person they're connecting with to make sure they are who they say they are and they're not lying. So obviously that there's all kinds of opportunity there for humor, for mysteries, for twisty suspense. And, that's what this book has. It's got all of that. So at the beginning, Claudia is assigned to this case. A woman comes to see them. There are two different men that she has connected with on this one dating website. One of them, they seem to get along great online, but he refuses to meet, and she wants to know what's going on with him. And the other one, she does she has developed an in-person relationship with, but she wants to make sure it's not too good to be true. So Claudia begins investigating. And again, I'm only at the beginning of the book. I know things are going to get a lot more complicated and a lot more twisty. But so far, I am absolutely loving this novel. The Verifiers by Jane Peck. I've been laughing out loud while I'm reading it. And as I said, it's written in a really wonderfully so that it's super compelling. I just hate to put it down. So recommend The Verifiers by Jane Peck. I have not started a new audiobook yet. I just finished the one I was listening to, I think the day after we got back from our camping trip. I have been hoping, which is looking pretty hopeless, that a book I requested from the library on audio would become available in time for me to read it before a book group discussion next week, but I don't think that's going to happen at this point. So I haven't started anything new, but I'll tell you about what I just finished. I just finished listening to The Diamond Eye by Kate Quinn. Now, this was my first Kate Quinn novel. I know lots of you love her books. I've been listening to rave reviews of them for the past couple of years at least. And this was the first one I've read or listened to. The Diamond Eye is about a real-life Russian sniper during World War II. I left out the most important part. Female Russian sniper during World War II. Her name was Mila Pavlichenko, though her nickname was Lady Death. So Mila is from the Ukraine. She was kind of struggling with an ordinary life. She had her son very, very young and is now raising him on her own. The man who got her pregnant and married her turned out to be pretty much a jerk. So she's trying to get divorced from him, but he won't sign the papers. And she's bringing up her son on her own, living with her mom. And she's going to school. She's really into history. She works at a library, and she's working on a thesis. So she's working toward her PhD and working on a thesis of some obscure historical figure in Ukrainian history. And then the war starts. So since her son doesn't have a father in his life, one of the things he said to her was that he wanted a father to teach him how to shoot. So Mila took classes and learned how to shoot, actually got a certification at a pretty high level, mainly just to satisfy her son. But then the war starts, and she wants to do her part to protect her country because the Nazis have invaded Russia. So Mila sets off for the front. Although, a lot of people in the Russian army do not want to accept a woman sniper, her skills, she proves herself through her amazing skills and becomes a top sniper. She ends up killing at least 400 Nazis, and she gains some renown for this. So in 1942, the Russians really need help. The Nazis just keep coming at them. They need help from the West, and they really need the U.S. to enter the war and help establish a Western front so that they've got some help in fighting back against the Nazis. So as part of that effort, Mila and a whole contingent of Russians from the military have been sent to the United States to meet President Roosevelt and to go on tour to try to convince both the president and citizens that the United States should become involved in the war. I really enjoyed this book. At the beginning, it's just kind of fascinating history, but by the second half, when Mila is in the United States and gets to know Eleanor Roosevelt, and again, this is all based on truth, I was just fully engaged in the story. Mila herself is a really interesting character, very complex character, as both, a professional killer and a mother. She suffers heartbreak. She becomes friends with Eleanor Roosevelt. There's just so much to this book. And the history, as usual when I read historical fiction, much of it, I learned so much that I didn't know before. So highly recommend The Diamond Eye by Kate Quinn. And the audio edition was excellent with a wonderful narrator. So that's what I've been reading this week. I'd love to hear what you plan to read this weekend. Let me know in the comments down below. Here we are at our favorite campsite. Our first time out for the season. I think you can see why it's our favorite. It is right on the water. The views are just amazing, and you can hear the water lapping on the shore. This is the Elk River, I believe, that feeds into the Chesapeake, very close by. And we love this spot for obvious reasons, because and we just got set up, and already we saw 2 eagles flying overhead and fighting with a couple of turkey vultures. And the eagles won, obviously, and staked out a branch right near our campsite. Not sure you can see them anymore. Oh no, he's still up there. Okay, so this is the view down to the river. There's a nice little beach down there. It's usually empty. And let me see if you can see the eagle. He is, oh yeah, hard to see without the zoom lens. Let me see, 1, 2, 3. He's sitting right on that branch there, kind of in the middle. Ooh, I can zoom on the, see the eagle right there in the middle? So he's been just sitting there. There's another eagle flying overhead. And we just love this spot. So peaceful. And this is just what we needed. Not here for long, but nice little getaway. So this is the little beach that you can see right from our campsite. That sound is just a boat going by. This is, I believe this is the Elk River, just before it joins the Chesapeake Bay. And we often hike out to the point of the peninsula where the Chesapeake Bay is, but it's very windy today. So we thought we'd just take a little walk down here. This little beach where it's very quiet and peaceful. That's my husband over there. Deserted, as you can see, which is usually the way it is. And nice and quiet. I love the sound of the lapping water.